had intel that there was American POWs there. Are these the same American POWs, I assume, with the whole Jessica Lynch freaking Patriot maintenance battalion that unfortunately drove in the Nasiriyah and were ambushed?
Yeah, that's what I was told. And we had heard that we were going to go rescue Jessica Lynch and stuff. I was like, who's that? Whatever. And actually, I don't even think her name had even come up then. It was just POWs, and then later on we had found out that it was
an Army unit. Y'all knew it was an Army unit, or
I don't even remember. I just knew it was POWs.
Okay.
And then later on, I remember them saying something about it being Jessica Lynch.
Well, now of course, that's all what It was very popular at that time, but yeah, I imagine at your level at that time in the war, those names were just.
Yeah, they were all Greek to me. I didn't know any of them. So
okay.
But I remember going into this camp. We finally go in and we start assaulting this camp and clearing it all out. And it was just like the 32nd compound. Only we didn't go in, guns blazing or anything like that. We went in pretty quietly.
And were y'all? You said at night. Well, I mean, did y'all go in with NVGs or white lights, or how'd that go?
We went in. Started off NVGs, and then as we were clearing the buildings, we went white light, and I remember looking in some of these buildings, man. It was just like you'd picture third world prison. It looked like a torture place, I remember looking in one cell, and it was like the bars on the cells again, and seeing a dish, like a silver dish, and it had a piece of moldy ass, disgusting looking bread, and it was just man, I feel sorry for whoever was here. They just didn't get treated the way an American would treat a POW. And
this is probably one of Saddam's prisons. This is not like some local jail.
It's not a city prison or anything like this. This is a military installation, prison camp of some sort.
Oh, well. Is there anything you recall from that raid, or is it pretty straightforward? Once again, just clearing rooms and.
I remember one funny thing is, if we came up to a room that was locked, we got in it. Well, we came to this door that was locked, and we wanted to get in it. And I remember Corporal Bresnahan, Brian Bresnahan, just shorter guy, so. I think that, I don't know, that always makes it funnier for me,
I think we talked about him earlier. You said he was security forces?
Yeah, he came from security forces as a corporal. And
Bresnahan, you said?
Yeah, Bresnahan.
Okay.
And he's over there trying to bust this lock off of this door. And he found out how tough these locks are when he's got this big sledgehammer trying to bust this lock. And it bounced... The hammer bounced off the lock, and he hit himself in the nuts with it, and he dropped just like that. And he's laying on the ground, rolling around, and he couldn't move. And I think he said later on that it was like a flash of light, and he just was in nothing but pain. So he's laying there on the ground, kind of rolling around a little bit, just holding himself. And we came to the conclusion that we weren't going to break this lock open. So they're like, all right, let's blow the door. So engineer or the assaultmen come up and they start prepping the door, getting it all ready, and they got the door all ready. And they're like, all right, get out of here. They got a time fuse on it.
Okay, so it was some kind of plastic explosives or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what they something. I don't remember.
Just some kind of demolition. Okay,
yeah, okay. They're using demolitions, and they set the time fuse on it. And they're like, fuck, Bresnahan's still laying here. So, they dragged Bresnahan out of the way.
So they were actually, they just forgot about him?
Yeah, they just, didn't even realize, they're like, get up. And then, he couldn't get up. So, they had to drag him out of the way. It's pretty funny. But I remember they had to blow several doors. And, they don't get to blow, use their explosives very often. Especially even now, we don't ever see assaultmen blowing things up anymore. It's always go get the engineers. Engineers are doing this, blah, blah, blah. So, they always used way too much explosives on, a little steel door or whatever, and they used an assload of explosives. So they end up, blowing this door, but there's nothing inside. But the funny thing was, afterwards we we realized, like, when the smoke cleared, there was a little window inside. Like, and all we had to do really to see that this room was empty was to, like, get someone to lift you up and look inside this window. But
so you invested an awful lot of time on it, explosives, and there was a Marine injured in the process.
Yeah, when there's a window to look through anyways. But yeah, I remember there was more than one occasion at this place. A couple other doors got blown, and it was just a massive explosion just from trying to get in one little door. Like, all they had to do was, like, blow the lock. They blew the whole damn door.
So real quick, just briefly, what's an assaultman for like future reference?
Assaultman is he basically gets trained more with explosives and rockets and stuff like that, I guess.
He's an organic part of the company. These are
he's in the weapons platoon, but then, like, when you go to war or get into the fight, the weapons platoon kind of gets disbanded, and, like, guys from each part of the weapons platoon get attached to the infantry squads. That way we've got those assets with us.
Okay. So I guess you completed the raid. Was there any POWs found?
No POWs. I guess someone had found some bloody mop suits. I never saw them, but
this is the same gear y'all are wearing for the the nuclear biological stuff.
Yeah, so we knew it was a coalition force member that was wearing that at one time, but, like, so it's kind of disheartening discerning to find out that these guys were here and we just missed them, and some of us were mad that it took so long for us to because we only missed them by a couple hours or whatever. But
once again, like you were saying earlier, y'all spent too much time planning.
It sure felt that way. Like, I could be wrong, but it sure felt like we just spent too much time planning and standing by. But then again, had we gone in without a plan, and there would have been resistance, like, things could have went bad for us, and we could have got those guys killed.
Okay.
Who knows?
So this was like the second or third day of the war. So what was kind of the next major event or next event you actually remember taking place?
I remember a huge dust storm, and like, nothing I'd ever seen before. Like, you couldn't see 2-3 feet in front of you. Like, if there was a track sitting 3 feet in front of me, I wouldn't have known it until, like, it hit me in the face, until I ran into it. So I remember we had our neck gaiters on over our nose, we had our goggles, and then we'd have our beanie on holding our goggles down and stuff like that, and then our helmet on top of that, just to keep the sand out of our eyes. And even then, like, you'd have to take your goggles off every once in a while because the goggles have little air filter breather areas so that they don't fog up. You'd have to dump the sand out of those every once in a while because it was that bad.
Wow.
But I remember we stopped because it was so bad that the convoy couldn't move, so we just stopped and held up for the night. And I remember that was the first night of the war that I was actually able to get a good night of sleep. I guess the whoever was in charge of the trackers said that they were getting a good night of sleep because it was their first good night also. They've been driving this entire time and stayed awake. So they said, grunts outside, trackers are sleeping in the back of their track,
Okay.
So the trackers got to sleep in their track, which is fine. I didn't want to sleep in one anyways.
Okay, yeah, so as the tracks are moving, y'all could always
we can
nap in the back, but the track driver is the only track driver, and he never gets to sleep. He's on it. Okay, I see.
He had to stay awake, and then so did the guy that was up in the gun too, in the turret. So they didn't get much sleep. So we get kicked outside. So we're sleeping, side by side next to this track, and I was lucky enough to be one of the first guys to do fire watch that night. And I say
fire watch. That's like guard duty.
Yeah, guard duty, staying awake. So I do my hour or two, whichever it was, of guard duty, and there's this dust storm going on, can't see anything anyways, but it wasn't that bad when I found out that as soon as I was crawling into my sleeping bag, it started it started hailing a little bit and then raining, and it got real nasty out. But our sleeping bags are water resistant or waterproof or whichever.
Oh, they're made Gore-Tex.
They're Gore-Tex,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So I got to stay inside mine all night. Everybody else woke up and they were all dirty and muddy and stuff because they had to do their fire watch while it was raining, and then they got back in their bag and they were all dirty and stuff. So I was lucky and got to do mine.
Okay.
We got a staff meeting we got to do in here. In
okay.
Say 10 minutes. So if you could cut it short or pick this up some other time, that'd be great.
But how long do we got until the staff meeting right now?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
We got everybody on deck to do this thing.
All right. We'll just stop. I'll pause.